Thank you, everybody, for joining us here at the Crypto Companies channel. I just want to let you all know what we're going to be doing with this video series. We'll be going through company updates and industry updates, answering any questions you guys have for us. If you have any, please don't be afraid to send them over. And we will, of course, be introducing and talking to members of the team. So who better to kick us off for video number one than co-founder and chief executive officer of the crypto company, Ron Levy. Ron, how are you doing today?
Doing great, Michael. Thank you very much.
Good. Very glad to have you on. And before we knock out a bunch of videos relating to the crypto company specifically, I kind of want to know your origin story, so to speak. What were you doing prior to getting involved with the crypto company? And like, what is it that makes you spark as like a businessman and entrepreneur?
Well, that's a big question. I'll try and summarize it a little bit. I'll go with the last question you asked. What makes me spark as a businessman and entrepreneur? I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I did not come to this through tech. I came to this really through being a real estate developer, contractor. And why is that relevant? Woke up most of my life at a very early hour, dealing with many jobs running and potentially hundreds of guys on any given day running, and having to organize all that, and quite honestly, crisis management, because that's what construction is at that level, which we don't consider a problem. It's just a way of life and it's fine. But that's what I did forever. And if you didn't plan ahead to have some materials delivered 6 months down the road, then you'd be stopped 6 months down the road. So that, plus managing hundreds of people, it honed a lot of skills. And within that industry, we kind of take them for granted because we're just used to that. But when I entered this blockchain world, i.e. the tech world, I found that skill set, while not completely devoid, it was a little bit lacking. So operations is really important to me. Planning ahead is really important to me. And knowing, as the old expression goes, where the puck's going to be and heading that direction is very important to me. So that's how I got to this world. In 2017, literally January 1st, quite honestly, there was a gentleman I had done business with some years before that I coincidentally ran into. He had given me my first lesson on Bitcoin in 2013, which is when I first touched it and got involved. And on this January 1st, 2017, he said, I've got an idea, let's sit down. We did. The net result was we started a company called the Crypto Company, which was private at that moment. And then we went public on June 7th of the same year. So June 7th, 2017, we had one of the first publicly traded companies in the space. We were doing various things in the space, whether it be building product, whether it be trading crypto. We had a research department. It was vibrant. It was building up very quickly. And it was obviously at a very frothy point of the industry and a very new point of the industry. While Bitcoin itself had been around for a while, ETH had just really caught speed, as well as all those projects that were being developed on it. So it was an exciting time to be there. We had to make some changes in the company in 2018. That was really based on us being too early. Kind of a bigger story, but just suffice it to say, we had to modify the company because we were public and transparent, which was our goal. We had to conform to kind of what a lot of the regulators were ready for at that given moment. So what did that mean? I mean, I went from being chief operating officer to moving up to chief executive officer, and really rolling up my sleeves, not that different than what I did in my other industries, and waking up every morning and taking the temperature and changing things, looking at where things are going to go and addressing them that way. And now here we are. So one of the things that I saw as missing in the industry that needed a lot of attention was education. There was very little of it. There's plenty of videos on YouTube. There's plenty of things you can do to learn. However, you're not really sure who's teaching you and what their motivation is. And there's not a lot of choices to get the real fundamentals about blockchain. And that is, how's it really built? Why is it built like that? What value does it really provide as opposed to perceived value, which there's plenty of? And where's it going next? And so we headed down the road of education, which is where we've been very intent. We also do Bitcoin mining. I'm very proud of that, supporting the Bitcoin network for many, many reasons. But that's sort of maybe a long-winded answer to your question on kind of who I am, what brought me here, kind of thing.
Yeah, no worries. So, coming from your previous experience, you're used to steering a very large ship and dealing with very real, tough situations, so to speak. And that's interesting. So, in 2017, 2018 was when I really started getting involved in this industry too, Ron. And it was kind of like a good golden era, but you touched on something and you were kind of solving this. And I don't necessarily think you were early. I think you were kind of just at the tip of the spear there, which is there needs to be a bit more structure and a bit more transparency here. And I think that downturn in the market that kind of occurred largely because of the lack of that. I think that's why this time we've seen another recent downturn in the macro crypto market, so to speak. But it hasn't been as devastating because largely now people are starting to get a bit more educated thanks to people like the crypto company coming in and actually saying like, hey, okay, we're here, we're a real company, we're publicly traded, we're transparent. So that's where you are then today. So now you're the chief executive officer. Walk me through a day in the life of the chief executive officer of the crypto company.
All things. I've got to keep my antenna up for all things. So as a public company, that's a whole sector of my day, operating a public company between the accounting, the auditors, the legal, the announcements we have to do, keeping our filings current. Very proud of all that. And that's a big job in looking forward. Shareholder outreach is a very big deal, keeping people informed as to what we're doing. So that's one large part of it. The other is, Blockchain Trading Alliance is a subsidiary of ours that has to continue to grow, which it is. And I've got to monitor what's going there. I've got really good people running it, and they're doing what they need to do. But that doesn't mean it doesn't need a sort of outside lens, sort of higher elevation, bigger picture to help guide that and see what else it may need. Resources could be people, could be outside people, could be more employees, and really make those judgments. So that's really important. And on the mining, you got to keep your finger in the wind all the time. That part of the industry is changing. It's got me incredibly excited, by the way. But it is certainly changing. And there's right now a lot of people that made massive investments in that space. There's a lot of pain out there, and based on all the changes that have happened. So I'm really monitoring that very closely. And of course, always talking to entrepreneurs in the space. And I guess I'll caveat it with this, and maybe this is what makes it a little bit unique. You have two sides of crypto blockchain, so to speak. And one side is you go to the conferences, you walk the halls, you get to know the people. You go to a conference and you see all these booths of people spending their time and their money on it, and their effort, and they're entrepreneurial, and they're really going all in. Unfortunately, you go the next year, a lot of those companies aren't there anymore, right?
Yeah.
That's the nature of entrepreneurism, especially in a fast growing, exponentially growing business industry. So that's the reality of what's gone on. You get a lot of people that have larger companies and larger successes. They have a dividing line there. They're not walking those halls. They're not talking to those smaller entrepreneurs. I get my life's blood from it. I love it. I see so many new ideas coming. I see what directions are coming, because in our industry, unlike traditional industries, a lot of what's happening tomorrow is by that 1 or 2 person team that just came up with a great idea and they're pitching it at the latest conference. So I go to a lot of conferences. I'm fortunate enough to be able to speak at them. I walk the halls. I talk to the people, and to me, it's critical in this industry. This industry is about tomorrow. It's at this stage of the game, it's about tomorrow. And the only way to see that clearly is to really know exactly what's happening today. I'm less focused on sort of the big news items with the bigger companies and everything, although that's important. Certainly not talking it down. That's great. But the vibrance and what's tomorrow is really happening at these other levels.
Yeah, fair enough. About to say, I've been to a couple of these conferences myself, and there's a lot of potential there, and a lot of energy too. A lot of people very much interested in pushing their ideas forward. And yes, like you said, of course, there's going to be a lot of ideas that fail, but that's what the entrepreneurial spirit is. It's taking those lessons and moving forward. So, Ron, thank you again for coming on. It's been great kind of getting to know you a little bit, and I look forward to diving deeper into the company itself. Is there anything else you want to add? Maybe like the message you really want to get across to people with this video series as a whole?
Regarding the crypto company, we're super proud of being one of the first publicly traded companies. What we did there was help blaze the trail that many have followed behind us. We see our path in front of us as exciting as that. and in a really big way. And we do see ourselves as some of the threads that make up the whole fabric of this industry. And I believe as time goes on, that will become more and more apparent.
Wonderful. Well, Ron, again, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you everybody for watching. And if you have any questions, do not be shy, please. We'll happily answer them for you. Stay tuned for more coming soon. And Ron, have a wonderful day.
Yes, and I'd also really want to thank all of our shareholders and our supporters from day one. Many of them are still continuing to back us, and I just couldn't be more thankful. This whole industry was nascent. It's less nascent now, but we couldn't do what we're doing without the support that's been behind us. So we just want to thank each and every one of you.